President-elect Donald Trump tapping Dr. Oz to oversee Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Our very own Anjalee Khemlani is here with more on this decision. Anjalee, what do we know?
Well, we do know that Mehmet Oz is a pick. We know that he has run before for a Senate position and failed there. So he has had political ambitions. And we do know a little bit about his stance. So to lead the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, that of course covers those two government payers, Medicare being the big one to keep an eye on because of the IRA drug pricing that was set in motion during the Biden administration, as well as what happens to Medicare Advantage. He seems to be a supporter of the idea of Medicare for all or expanding more of the private payer relationship with CMS. We know that area has really come under fire in the recent past with the government saying they're overpaying these insurers like Humana, Cigna, and the like, United as well, and CVS, those who have been playing in this field of Medicare Advantage. So that's something to keep an eye out for. Now, what we do know also is that tied, of course, with RFK Jr., that puts a little bit of a wild swing, if you will, on what the picks are. Analysts saying that they didn't quite see these two coming, or rather specifically Dr. Oz, television personality, someone who hasn't really been part of the conversations in recent weeks. We got one analyst saying, JPM's Lisa Gill, saying that CMS under Republican control would support Medicare Advantage, which, as I mentioned, is a good news for these companies. But Mizuho's Jared Holes saying healthcare appointments in the second Trump term are getting wilder by the day, just to get a sense of how these analysts and investors are looking at it. Coming down the line, we now know two. The most important one, of course, for the drug sector is the FDA. Who is going to be in that top spot, as well as the CDC now that we're looking at infectious diseases, generally speaking, like bird flu. So we do not know who those are, but I'm going to give you some names to just keep an eye out for. Dr. Casey Means, someone who has been pretty prominently paired with RFK, looking at lots of the ultra-processed food problems and other childhood disease problems. The State Surgeon General of Florida during the pandemic didn't really have that great a reputation, kind of going against the grain and going against the advice of what was going on nationally. Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, he's a Stanford School medicine professor and someone who was co-author of the Great Barrington Declaration during COVID. Marty Makary, also another one that, these names that are popping up, we really saw a lot of their platform during the pandemic and how much sort of the general scientific population was not in favor of what they were saying. We've got some other names as well, including senators, representatives, and some Instagram influencers as well. All part of the potential lineup of names that we could see in the coming weeks. So keep an eye here. And of course, I will be telling you when I find out more.
All right. We might hear more takes like Mizuho's, or other analysts might also lend their voice to the conversation.
Absolutely.
We will see.